Hello and welcome to In the Tunnel. This is episode number 27. My name is Sean,
And I'm Jeremy.
and today we'll be talking college football playoffs, NFL playoffs, and NHL All-Stars.
Yep.
So
Let's get into it.
I think we will get started with the college football playoffs.
Yeah. Let's start with amateurs and work our way up to professional.
Always.
All right. So first off, I know that we're big notes guys, but let's first go with looking back, and then we will move forward to what lies ahead. So right now, looking back at it, we have the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. They played the Clemson Tigers. We have the Alabama Crimson Tide, and they played against the Oklahoma Sooners. So right there we have the 1-4 matchup where Alabama took home and won that matchup, and then Clemson absolutely throttled what is the Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
Right. Yeah, I think that game was just kind of gone. And to be honest, the Bama game, it looked over in the first, but
Yeah.
then they came back. It wasn't enough, but damn, I stopped watching that game after the second or after the
Right,
first half.
exactly, because Alabama was up so big, and like you said, it did come back to be a little bit closer. But I think from what we talked about a couple weeks ago, it does come back to Oklahoma's is only as good as their offense allows them to be, because their defense was absolutely horrible.
Oh yeah,
They just didn't have one. And the wild thing is that Oklahoma extended their head coach today. Not saying that he's not worthy, because it's like, how do you do better than a coach that made the playoff? But you need to have someone who can recruit defensively too.
yeah, but to be fair, that defensive recruiting can, now that they've made the playoffs, that they're one of the top 4 teams, kids will want to go there, no doubt.
Yeah.
Even they did in the past. So it's more of, now that they have a lot of the picks, or a lot of the cream of the crop, basically, I don't think it's a bad idea, but you still have to give this guy 2 years, even if you just if you're signing, or I guess signing the better incoming freshman.
Yeah, it's rare that a true freshman sees the field, especially on defense. I feel like,
I'm saying 2 years to just get them started to coming in. There's no way that many true freshmen can even impact.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think re-signing the coach is a bad idea, but you just hope that their infrastructure on the recruiting end is better.
Yeah, and like I said, it's like, if Oklahoma made the playoff with the coach that they have, it's like there's hundreds of schools that have college athletics.
Right.
So the fact of the matter is what coach can you get that's going to do even better? All of them are taken, except for Urban Meyer, but no one really knows what the hell's going to happen there.
Yeah, so again, I don't disagree with the decision.
Look, Michigan hired Jim Harbaugh, and they haven't made a playoff. And that dude made it to the Super Bowl not 10 years ago.
Yeah, but to be fair, the NFL and college are completely different.
Yeah. I think that goes without saying.
But it takes a different skill set as a coach to get to the Super Bowl than it does to get to the CFB final. And I'm not saying getting to one is better than the other. I'm just saying the skill set that the coach needs to have is different.
I'd agree with that. All I know is that Michigan's paying a ton of money for for a team to not make the playoffs.
Nothing we can do about it.
We could ask for a cut.
Yeah, I mean, that's not going to help them, though.
Well, it's worth a shot.
Good luck with that one.
Hey, you know.
All right, so
Just thinking about what could be right here.
I mean, do you want to talk about the matchup?
Yes, I would love nothing more than to talk about the matchup. Especially because this was the one topic that I did not create a graphic. Let's see here.
I mean,
all right, so scrolling through my notes here and Google Docs.
I mean, I think it's going to be pretty heavy. Like, Bama showed that their defense really isn't up to stuff either.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's just go with both of these teams are undefeated as I think all 4 teams are undefeated that made it.
One team had 1 loss. It was the number 4 seed.
Oklahoma.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, so
but
just to make sure.
To be fair,
so it is the top 2 seeds that made the final. Though.
Yeah. Both teams, the other 3 teams were undefeated, right? But to be fair, like, Bama showed pretty weak defense in the second half.
Yeah, they do.
What?
I'm being distracted.
I know.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And that was Nick.
Yeah.
Live on the show.
But yeah, Bama showed like a really weak defense in the second half. And then Clemson's the only one that kept it together. Really.
Yeah, which, you know, I'm all for Clemson winning to represent the ACC, although I'm really not a fan of Clemson and don't like them. The fact that their quarterback, who is a true freshman, just looks like a guitar player and not an actual football player is kind of wild. I mean, it's all just really long rock star hair.
Still, the question is he going to still be a reformer? Freshman. Is he going to have that freshman moment?
Exactly. Yeah. Third wheel Nick brings up a good point.
But like,
they're waiting for it.
You know, why don't you just come on and say what you want to say? I'm all for it. I'm not going to stop you.
All right. My thing though is like Bama showed like stupid defense.
Yeah, it's the kind of defense that they played when they let Georgia take a 21-point lead to them in the conference championship game.
Yeah, but like the problem is, right? The only team that showed defense really was Clemson, and if they can bring not even as good of a defense, but something like that, they have such a better chance. Even though they're probably not going to stop as many points because like Bama's just an offensive powerhouse, you're still going to slow them down, or you know, some of those touchdowns might have a better chance of being kicks. So, and they showed that they can at least score some. I mean, not just some. They won 30-3. So, so they can score. They just need to, like, if defense shows up to like even like 80% of what they did this past weekend, I think they have a good shot, like, to actually take it. I think a lot of people are going for Bama, but I think it's pretty up in the air.
Yeah, I think it's up in the air too. But it's just weird because, you know, it's Bama versus everybody in terms of how experts and how like the country looks at college football just based on historical trends. So it's kind of hard to, in that respect, put Clemson on the same tier, even if they do belong there. So,
right. But I mean, I do think that they, if I'm not mistaken, right, they score about the same amount of points. Well, throughout the season, yes. I think they did.
All right. So, yes and no, because you know, excuse me. While 3.5 points is not a lot in the grand scheme of things, it's enough of a margin, obviously, to lose a football. So Clemson scores 44.3 points per game, which is an outrageously high number. Like, any school would dream that they put up that many. But
Right.
Alabama puts up 47.7 points per game.
I mean, on the flip side, right, the numbers are lower, but like they don't allow as much, and it's a 1 point difference basically. But still, it's like almost 15 to 13 and a quarter, right?
Yeah,
For points
in
allowed.
terms of points allowed, yeah.
So, I mean,
That's not a lot of wiggle room.
that is a stupidly low number for college.
Yeah, but it shows, like what I was saying, there's
Yeah,
not
but-
a lot of wiggle room.
but-
and when I say that, like a 3-point margin for points scored is not a lot, a 1-point margin in terms of points allowed, that means like someone has to give up those extra points to win it, and neither of these defenses show that they're going to.
But Bama's defense had a way worse showing in the playoffs.
I guess, but like I said, Oklahoma is that one-sided team.
But
If
there's
they
no
loaded-
okay. I'm not saying that they shouldn't have given up more than 15 points. I'm saying that as the game in the overall grand scheme of things, right? The game, their second half performance was so bad. Like they were their defense was two completely different teams, and their offense to an extent was also two completely different teams per half.
Mhm.
And as much as that is like their stats are great, if you show two completely different teams in the finals, you're done.
Yeah, ultimately you need consistency, but I think that Alabama has the best chance with Nick Saban at head coach of being just as consistent as they need to be to win a football game.
All right.
I don't think that he's like the Bill Belichick of college football. Like, you really think that he's going to
But
let them slip up again?
Aren't Bama and Clemson the two teams that have made the playoffs all but 1 year each since its inception?
Made the playoff every year.
No, I thought both of them missed 1 year, but I could be wrong.
Well, I know that Clemson lost to Alabama in a semifinal.
And I know Clemson missed out 1 year of the playoffs
The
since
Florida
its
State
inception.
year, I guess. One of the years that like they played Florida State, it was like Florida State versus Clemson or something like that.
All right.
But I mean, for Bama to miss it, like, is just a wild thought in its own right. That's how consistent they've been in terms of winning games.
Yeah.
So I just don't believe that you're going to see a weak Alabama this week, and I think you may have already seen it.
I mean, they do have a week to patch things up, but we'll see. I think it really depends on how the teams come out of the half. Because I think both teams will start strong, but which team can adapt better is going to win. But I do think both teams have like a pretty 50-50 shot.
Oh, for sure. It'll be an interesting game because, like I said, Alabama beat Clemson in the semifinal last year 24-6. So, like, if that's the definition between these two of a blowout, because the other two have been such close games, then, it's going to be a second half game.
And to be fair, that's pretty low for a blowout, in my opinion.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is the bar is set differently between them.
Yeah.
But if you're looking for numbers that define, who's had the upper hand in the series, because apparently for college football, like, knowing the all-time matchup record,
that
where
literally doesn't matter.
Right, exactly. But for some reason, like, someone during the broadcast will tell you anyway. So let's just get out ahead of this. 14-4. Alabama is 14-4 all-time against Clemson. They're 1-1 in the championship final game, whatever you want to call it. And 2-1 in playoff play, if you're including the win last year in the semifinal. So, teams that basically at this point, they play each other every year because they have in the past 3 years played each other. So, I mean, from a coaching standpoint, it comes down to who prepares better.
Yeah.
And who can, like, stay in control of the locker room better.
That's really why I think halftime's going to be the decider.
Well, yeah, I think that if it if it's close or tight at halftime, it's the last team who has the ball last wins.
Yeah. Okay.
Because the adjustment is going to be there for those teams.
Mhm.
Either that, or it's going to be a defensive play that makes the difference.
Yeah, but I mean, there's still going to be some sort of adjustment because the defense has to adjust to how the offense sees them in the first, right? So there's going to be adjustments all the way around, but it's more of which coach can identify the correct adjustments to make and get his players to follow them.
Yeah. So who are you picking?
I'll take Clemson.
All right, I'll go with Bama, even though I hate Bama because honestly, I'm getting really tired of looking up at Bama in the rankings. It's I can take a break from being a college football fan for 3 years, from the time that Bama lost its last game, and they'll still be number one because it's Bama and everybody else in the country will have lost 2 games. I'll wait 3 years, go back to college football in the middle of September, and it will still be Alabama at the time. So it's give me something different. It's really and I get that Clemson built it up in the past 10 years the way that a good program really does, but this is, I mean, it's the new Cavs Warriors,
right?
But on an amateur level, and it's you got to give me something,
right?
You really have to. And I hate Notre Dame, but to have seen them in would have at least been different.
Yeah, true. But yeah, they were completely outclassed.
Yeah, it's. Oh, and by the way, you're not going to care about this at all, but the fact that Notre Dame was wearing uniforms where players had their names on the back of it was one of the weirdest things ever, because they never do that.
I know. They never do. I was surprised.
Yeah, it's you just watch it and you're there's something different about this, despite the fact that there's really nothing still on those jerseys.
Right.
So let's just do a little stat comparison. Tua, the quarterback for Alabama, has thrown for about 800 more yards, something around there, that more than Clemson's quarterback, Trevor Lawrence. Both have only thrown 4 interceptions on the year. Tua has thrown 41 touchdowns, and Trevor Lawrence has thrown 27. But
right.
Trevor Lawrence wasn't the starter every game either.
Right.
Clemson runs the ball with Etienne, 1,572 yards and 22 touchdowns, compared to Harris for the Crimson Tide. He's got 819 yards and 9 touchdowns. But again, that's just their leading rusher. It's Alabama. There's a very good chance that they do split back or something. And Clemson, I'm sure, is kind of Clemson always brings in big wide receivers. So Higgins is their big threat, 855 yards, but 11 touchdowns for a wide receiver. And Judy for the Crimson Tide, 1,176 yards and 13 touchdowns. So, in the statistical main categories of offense, pretty similar if you had the same sample sizes at quarterback or at running back. Because, at running back, Clemson, their main guy has 190 touchdowns, whereas Alabama, their guy has 139. It's a big difference. So, I mean, at wide receiver is your closest sample size in terms of receptions and touchdowns.
But Clemson's quarterback changed.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is the sample size
still not perfect as a comparison.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you could have estimated what could have been given the information now, it would probably be something very close.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah.
All right. So I think we covered college pretty well. So you want to move on to the NHL All-Stars?
I would love to, mostly because we have graphics for this one. So this is exciting.
Yep.
Are you excited, Sean?
Yeah. So I mean, let's just jump straight into it, right? So the most of the teams are basically set. There are going to be some changes, but we can go through those as things go along.
Right.
So for the Atlantic, the forwards are the concrete forwards are Matthews, Tavares, Kucherov, Stamkos, Pasternak, and Eichel.
Yep.
I think all of them deserve it. I don't see why not.
Well, you definitely have to keep Tampa Bay's players in it because
I mean-
statistically speaking, they're just out in front of everybody.
Yeah, but I still like. I mean, I understand Kucherov, Stamkos. I'm a little but yeah, he can go in there. I see the argument for it.
Well, how many goals does Stamkos have? Isn't it like way up there already?
I mean, Kucherov's leading the Atlantic Division. That's a definite. Yeah. So Kucherov's leading the Atlantic Division, but Stamkos is like 10th in the Atlantic Division at least. So I mean, there are a couple of people there's quite a few ahead of them, but I mean, still that's pretty good. So I see the argument, right?
Yeah.
And the only reason I'm saying that there's an argument is because that's Tampa's second player.
Exactly.
All right.
You mean between Point and Stamkos?
Yeah.
All right, but we'll get to Point in a little bit.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, otherwise I'm pretty fine with these selections. I have nothing against them.
Yeah.
All right. So you
two
want
centers, although I will say, 2 centers for the Maple Leafs.
Yeah.
Were you expecting that?
I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think they've both been playing really well. I'm just, I mean, I think I would have put like Morgan Riley in there over one of them, but but
there's only so many defensemen.
Right, exactly. And with how the other team's offensive talent is not really what you want to put there.
Yeah, exactly. No, I understand.
Yeah. So you want to hit defense and goalies now?
Yeah. So let's see. We on the defensive side we have Thomas Chabot. You know, there's so many Jewish jokes that could be made right now. Keith Yandel, the longtime All-Star, making another appearance for the Florida Panthers this time. And then in net you have Jimmy Howard, you have Carey Price.
I mean,
Carey Price is having a remarkable year. I don't know statistically Jimmy Howard because like it's just I get that Detroit needed to have somebody, but like
I mean,
Jimmy Howard has been so up and down in the past few years.
I mean, I think it's both because I think Carey Price. I don't think he's having an up and up year. I think he's having an okay year.
But in comparison to a few of the years he's had in the past, in the last 3 years, this is so far his best start.
Yeah, true. Okay, I'm good with that. But then again, I'm just saying, I understand that they had to have somebody there, but you would literally have, Chabot deserves it, okay? He's, but also Ottawa needed somebody on this damn team.
Yeah, exactly.
But he deserves it, okay? The same thing. Mm-hmm. Yandel, Florida needed somebody on this team.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
And that's literally what this page is.
At this point, it's Florida's I wonder if we can bring back Yager.
And then, so Howard is, I feel like this page is, we need to put guys from this team on there, and we don't want to put them on offense. Because, I would choose, a Morgan Riley or a Point instead of one of these guys.
We'll get to those guys. They're not out of the picture yet, but we'll get there.
One of them is.
We'll see. We'll discuss it later.
Okay.
Because we're going to play a fun game with those.
All right.
Not fun for them, but, they don't really care about us either.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on to the Metro.
Yeah.
So for the Metro, so Ovechkin said he's not playing in the All-Stars. Yeah. So he's out. But then you have Sebastian Aho, Cam Atkinson, Matt Barzal, Crosby,
Mhm.
Giroux, and Hall, and I'm not sure if Hall's going to play due to him being on IR.
So I wonder how this goes then, because does New Jersey get another representative then?
I think. But even then, it's
It'll
like...
be interesting because if you look at our graphic here, you see it's one guy per. It's a very nicely mixed variety of representatives.
And they're all doing really well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you have 2 Hart Trophy finalists on the bottom of the graphic, Giroux and Taylor Hall.
Yeah.
And then you have Crosby, which, Barzal, who's played great after Tavares left. Cam Atkinson, because you need a representative of a Columbus team that is sitting in second place in the division and just keeps winning games.
Yeah, I mean,
And Aho on a resurgent Carolina team that, while maybe in the middle of the pack, they deserve a representative for sure.
Oh, yeah, no. Aho and Atkinson, I think they deserve to be there. I don't see why they don't.
Right, I'm saying, where is in the Atlantic, you looked at the forwards and even the defensemen, and you're like, well, maybe I would have chosen someone else.
Right.
The forwards for the Metro, I don't think we can say I would rather substitute that guy for this guy.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, who doesn't want to see Phil Kessel in there? But that's not the point.
I think only you, but...
Well, no. Oh, come on. Everybody loves Phil Kessel.
All right. So anyway, let's see how the Metro rounds out with defense and goalie.
Yeah. All right. So, you got your John Carlson guy and I feel like this was the guy who is now the Caps representative with Ovechkin out. This is where, like, I'm not sure that. I mean, statistically speaking, how is he looking in comparison to other defensemen?
I mean, I think, he's doing pretty damn well. Like, yeah, sure, put him in for the Metro. I don't think many defensemen are doing that much better than him.
I mean, I know that last year he was doing really well.
Yeah, but he kind of tapered off towards the end, but that's not what we're here for because we only care about the first half of the season.
All right, so he's 5th in defenseman in points.
Yeah.
Okay, so... And that's where, like, because Letang is 6th. Letang didn't make it, and I'm not trying to hold a grudge here, but, like, Seth Jones obviously doesn't bring the offensive firepower to the table that, like, a Letang does. So...
Yeah, but I think
this is where
Seth
it gets
Jones...
a little interesting.
Okay, so out of Cam Atkinson and Seth Jones, I think Seth Jones is the actual representative.
Okay.
I just personally think that. I think he's been like a pretty big player for that team to be where they are. And nothing against Cam Atkinson, but I'm just saying
More of an anchor.
Yeah, and if we were in a place where we had to choose one player from every team, I think that vote goes to Jones first.
Okay. It's like a team MVP kind of vote.
Right.
All right.
So then, yeah, and to round out the goalies for the Metro, you have Braden Holtby and Henrik Lundqvist. I have nothing against that. Is though we're saying the Rangers need a representative, like Lundqvist has been carrying them.
I mean, they're like, what's the trophy? It's slipping my mind right now. For goaltenders.
You're talking about the Vezina?
Yeah, Vezina. So, I mean, like, these are guys who, like, in their prime, obviously, Vezina finalists every year. I mean, Lundqvist is, kind of past his prime now, but
this guy,
he's the best that the Rangers have, obviously.
Yeah, and if he had literally, like, a team playing 5 or 10% better in front of him, he would be in the Vezina conversation.
Oh, yeah,
no
absolutely.
doubt.
Absolutely, if he didn't have to play defense by himself.
Yeah, so for goalies, I have nothing. Like, I don't think any other goalie in the league really deserves it.
Oh yeah, I mean, look.
Well, in the Metro.
Yeah, and I was about to say, like, if you look through the other teams, the Penguins, obviously, Matt Murray and Smith been swapping because Matt Murray, quote unquote, keeps getting injured.
Right.
Which he doesn't.
Yeah,
no one can hit the IR that much.
right.
The
Devils.
yeah.
Schneider's on IR.
Yeah.
Kincaid's been Lax on
Exactly.
IR. He started the season up in NJ, but he's on IR down in Binghamton.
Right. The Islanders, they just don't have a goaltender like that. They never have. Even DiPietro. Signed him to like a 20-year deal.
They're still paying him, dude.
Made an All-Star game. Yeah, never made an All-Star game. So it's like, just they will never have that. Scott Darling didn't he already get waived or something?
Yeah, they have 2 other goalies up.
Yeah, exactly. So now there goes Carolina.
But I mean, to be fair, the Carolina goalies have been putting in their fair share of work for where Carolina is.
And that's fine.
But I mean, again, we're talking All-Stars. The 2 best goalies are Holtby and Lundqvist, hands down, for the Metro.
Absolutely. It's like, and we're going to be talking tiers in a few minutes, but that's the difference in tiers.
Mm-hmm.
Is in the Metro, those guys are tier 1, and then you have who do you want to put on a tier 2?
None of that.
Well, if you're saying that there's 3 tiers,
the Metro is the one without the second tier.
Okay, all right, good enough.
Because
they're very Greek government. It's just the collapse.
It's not that. It's that the teams, the goalies, they can put up a performance. Like Kincaid, he's been solid for stretches, more so towards the beginning of the season. But he has those times.
A backup goaltender doesn't make an All-Star team.
I mean, he was the starter technically, but that's all I'm saying. But
it doesn't matter.
But all I'm saying is he has his streaks, and a tier 2 goaltender, you're not super streaky like the rest of the Metro has been, right? Columbus, they're in second place, but their goaltender went down, right, for a little bit, I think.
Bobrovsky?
Yeah.
Bobrovsky's on a down year, too.
Yeah, and that, but
Bobrovsky, he would be your tier 2 guy. He'd be the one tier 2 guy if he wasn't playing like crap this year.
Yeah, and then the Devils had to call up their Mackenzie Blackwood, the new MB29.
Oh, God, here we go with this again. He's a new Martin Brodeur because Brodeur wore 29 for a day and a half, too.
No, he wore it for the first half of the season he was up, I think.
Yeah, sorry I didn't go through the archive and look through his rookie year footage.
No, but I mean, it just shows you where goaltending is in the Metro because we're on our 4th goaltender this year. You guys, the Penguins are rotating their goaltenders every day.
We've had 3.
Huh?
We've had 3.
Yeah, but you're also rotating your goaltender every day.
Keep them fresh.
Yeah.
The way Matt Murray's glove hand stays hot.
And then these 2, Holtby and Lundqvist, are the only 2 to be all right, they can literally play every day still.
No, yeah. I mean, Lundqvist has to.
Nobody told him they were tanking for Hughes, is it? I don't know.
Is he a goaltender?
No, Hughes is the number 1 player in the draft next year, I think.
Yeah, is he a goaltender?
No.
That would have been funny if they were taking for a goaltender.
All right.
See where,
anyway,
that gets a lot more funny.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Central. So let's see. Central has McKinnon, Kane, O'Reilly, Rantanen, Scheifele, and Wheeler as their forwards.
So right here, because this is a spontaneous thought, I just want to apologize to anyone who's watching because I put the St. Louis Blues logo next to Ryan O'Reilly. I really should have just went with the O'Reilly Auto Parts logo.
Oh my, that's so savage. But to be fair, O'Reilly's literally the only person on the Blues that deserves a friggin' All-Star spot.
I mean, I guess you could give it to Tarasenko just on the fact that he's been there. He's just like an NBA All-Star. I guess every year we gotta do this now.
But
no, LeBron's having a down year, but it's still LeBron.
Yeah, but no, seriously, O'Reilly is the one player on the Blues I would give the All-Star bout to.
Isn't this his second? I feel like O'Reilly jumps teams every year.
But he's the only one performing. It doesn't matter.
I didn't expect him to be on the Blues is all I'm saying. He might just think he's on instead of St. Louis.
Oh boy. Anyway, no. So
Yeah, we're gonna get some hate mail from the 0 St. Louis people on that one.
yeah, but I mean, I think everybody else is good on this list for forwards. We'll see what the
McKinnon, Kane, because it's weird because there'll always be a toss between do you send Taves or Kane, but like especially in this format where it's like every team gets a representative, but you're doing the whole 3-on-3 thing.
Yeah. Also, I feel like
that really takes away like how many people can make it.
Taves is also more of a supporter than nowadays, especially like I don't think he's gonna get the like immediate invitation.
His game style doesn't really fit a 3-on-3 in an all-star format.
I mean, he's still
too goofy. It's too goofy and like too open play.
But he's still a dynamic player, but he likes to set up now more so. So
yeah, he's a Steve Nash. He's an assist guy.
Yeah, so I don't see him getting like the NHL giving him the slot.
Yeah, it's a shame because obviously he's top 20 player in the game this year, or in top 5 pretty much most of the past 10 years.
Right,
and it's like the fact that he didn't make it at all. But like
we'll see. Hey, that one we'll talk about too.
Yeah. And then Mikko Rantanen, I mean, he's number 2 in points. I mean, he's a guy who we never really heard of before this year, but you can't leave a guy number 2 in points out of it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm okay with that list. So, let's see the defense and goalies.
Yeah. On to the next one. These graphics look awesome.
Yeah. So, there's Miro Heiskanen, Roman Josi for defense, and Dubnyk and Rinne for goalies.
My only thing is Dubnyk I feel like is kind of a wild card.
But who are you going to put on from the Wild in place of Dubnyk? And then you have to take off a forward or defenseman.
Yeah, that's tough. I guess you gotta give it to Dubnyk. I really wish that they didn't have like this one player per team minimum because, like, shoot. You can't take anyone away from the forwards. That's just not right.
Because even the duplicates in this in their forwards, they all deserve it.
Yeah.
But I have to say, Heiskanen definitely deserves it, even though he's the one player from the Stars. Josi and Rinne, I think.
Isn't Charlie Quill like playing forward for the Wild right now?
Yeah, I think so.
So like, Minnesota really does not deserve a representative. They have depth.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, like, Dubnyk gets it. I think he's been decent.
Yeah, he's been decent.
He's a little too streaky for my taste, though, on a normal.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, gives up some pretty bad goals at times.
Yeah, but I mean, there's nothing I would change about this list in the forwards, so I'll deal with it.
It's kind of like the expansion draft. It's like you can protect so many guys, but that leaves an exposed spot somewhere else. It's like we just protect all our forwards. Okay, we got to pick someone from this pile of crap now.
All right, you ready for the Pacific?
Yeah.
All right, forwards for the Pacific. Connor McDavid, Gaudreau, Keller, Pavelski, and Pettersson. What do you think?
I mean, it's definitely the youngest group of the 4 forward teams that we've discussed. But we'll get into this. Pacific is the one team that elected 3 defensemen instead of 6 forwards.
Yeah, but you'll see why in a second. I have a little bit of a problem with this.
Oh, good. Well, let's get into that then. Let's jump the gun.
All right. So, I mean, yeah, but finishing off forwards, I'm
you can't leave McDavid out. Pettersson's on a roll.
Yeah. So I'm kind of surprised they did pick Pettersson over like a Besser or something. Just because I have nothing against it. I totally think he deserves it, and I really want to see him play in a more open environment, even though it's like mostly gimmicky. But it'll be fun to see what he can do. Yeah. And yeah, Coyotes, Keller's been their best player basically, so it's his. Gaudreau, you can't say no to, and McDavid, you're taking McDavid if the Oilers are in your division for the All-Stars.
It's either him or Draisaitl.
Yeah, so Pavelski, it's like a little up there. I'm not really sure. I mean, you could literally pick anybody else because we'll get to the next slide.
Like the one for the road kind of like
but
all-star?
Hold on.
Like, you know that he's getting up there.
Okay, here's why you can literally replace Pavelski with literally anybody else on the team. Get ready. Okay. The defense. They picked 3 defensemen. Brett Burns and Erik Karlsson.
That's stupid. I'm sorry.
All right, so the Sharks have 3 players. They had such I understand they bounced back, but there's no way that you have to pick 3 players. Like, pick a freaking another.
Hold on. Here's why. All-Star Weekend is in San Jose. That's why.
Yeah, I know.
Hometown bonus.
Yeah, but pick another. I mean, you can try and pick a Duck, I guess, but I mean, even picking one of the forwards from Vegas who's doing pretty okay, Pavelski.
Who wants a second Duck player though? Let's be real, or a third, I should say.
Third?
Gibson.
But Gibson is the only one.
Shoot, I gotta learn how to read.
Oh
God, man.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, put I would rather see a Vegas player in that slot, not even just saying, because I think at least one of their forwards has done something enough to deserve at least a look at getting into the All-Star game.
Yeah, and especially, I mean, I know last year isn't this year, but look how, at the potential and firepower that they have at forward. You think that one of those guys would have stepped up enough to outlast a third defenseman?
Right. No, but I have no problem with there being 3 defensemen in the Pacific. No problem.
Mm-hmm.
Just the fact that you chose 3 San Jose players, okay, Karlsson and Burns. I'm a little iffy on both of them making it. One of them, sure.
Right. If you're gonna do one forward and one defense.
But no, even
to have 2 is pretty well represented for the hometown team.
But even if both of them make it, why are you throwing Pavelski into it? Unless it's just hometown bias. But
they must know that or something. There must be something going on where he got thrown. That has to be one for the road.
And they get another vote for the fan vote. They get another player.
Oh, no, they don't.
I mean, they have somebody on the ballot.
I'm canceling it. No, I'm canceling it.
They have somebody on the ballot. Okay.
Yeah,
anyway,
but how many points could they have if the other 3 are?
I mean, dude, the All-Star Game's in San Jose. They're going to show up to vote.
Yeah, just like the Pirates did in 06. So you get Freddie Sanchez and Jason Bay out there one more time.
All right. Anyway, so
they have enough.
Let's get to the fan vote. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Flower and Gibson for goaltenders.
Yeah,
we didn't touch on that, but
yeah. I have nothing. That's fine. Go give them. Sure. All right. So
free press.
The fan vote for the Atlantic: Bergeron, Skinner, Larkin, Barkov, Stone, Point, Riley, and Weber. What do you think?
All right. So first of all, we got to get into the fact that we're going to play a little game with this. I don't think. So Sean and I we decided we're going to stretch this into 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
Next week's show too. So, and this comes full circle with tiers talk or whatever we were calling it. So what we're going to do is we're going to run a hypothetical bracket of, I don't know, how do you want to do this? You want to do bracket per division? Do you want to do overall and just make it a really big bracket?
That's too much.
All right. So you want to do each division bracket, and then they each send one, and you pick the or those are your last 4. Do you want to pick the ultimate man?
No, you just pick one per division because that's how it's gonna be.
All right, so we're gonna go. We're gonna create the tiers and playoff seating kind of behind the scenes, or we're gonna do tiers now, playoff seating later, behind the scenes, and then we'll have graphics with the brackets and everything, and go through it on next week's show. I don't know if we'll discuss after the show if we want to do that. You have your own bracket, I have my own.
We'll see.
If we want to like debate it until somebody wins, and then we can just do like a whole show where it's just debated. We have a lot of ideas on this one, but it should be really fun because we're gonna create something on the spot. We're gonna do hypothetical bracket. I don't know if any other podcast has done this, so bring a little bit of a unique factor into it. It should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, so look forward to that next week. But like any baseline thoughts on these players?
Yeah. So look, I get that the defensemen aren't well represented in these events, but Shea Weber, like really, like,
dude, he was out for 30 games already, or something.
You mentioned in our notes the guy's played 16 games, and the Canadians were like, well, he's no Carey Price, but he puts up the same number of points, really.
I mean, to be fair, I probably would have liked to see like a Max Domi in that slot, even though like the whole team hasn't been doing that good.
Yeah, exactly. Get someone with like potential. Be like, give them some hope, not like Shea Weber, who's like, I mean, guarantee you, he's only on the ballot so that he can be possibly in the hardest shot competition.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
It has to be that.
It's always.
Yeah. Which is like, they must have known like Ovechkin's not gonna, do it. So like, here's our shot. Let's slip in the old guy.
So, my one thing is I'm kind of sad that Morgan Riley is on the fan vote instead of making it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like, otherwise, like, I agree, like, why is Shea Weber there? But the rest of them, like, they all have a fair shot. I'd like to see any of them, maybe aside from Weber or Larkin, really get in.
Yeah, and, like, Morgan Riley. And this is how stupid the Shea Weber thing is. 44 points for a defenseman in Morgan Riley. And a guy with 1/4 the production is on the same ballot.
He's only played 16 games.
Shea Weber, yeah, I don't care. I really don't. Has 11 points. Don't tell me that Shea Weber was going to have like a 40-point season otherwise, because he wasn't. That's not the kind of player that he is. All right. In terms of the forward, Braden Point has 52 points.
Yeah.
That's a lot to leave on a fan vote.
That's what I'm saying. Like
45 for Mark Stone, but again, it's the Senators, and like with the season they're having, you only really do get one at that point.
But also, I think Chabot does deserve it over him. So I'm okay with him being on the fan vote.
Yeah, I'm okay with it too. Plus,
but I mean, I would have put Mark Stone in there and put Riley in instead of the double center.
Right, but it comes back to if you the Atlantic Division team is who do you take out?
Double center in the Maple Leafs. One of them fan votes and wins anyway.
I guess. Well, there goes that. Right out the window. Man, I ain't thinking about this right now.
Yeah, so I mean,
but Jeff Skinner, having was I don't know for him
pretty damn good year.
Yeah, for a team on the rise, Buffalo, they got Eichel in there, but it would have been nice to see a second rep in. But
yeah,
there's only so many spots.
Yeah. But like again, for the Atlantic Division, aside from Weber and Larkin, really, I have no problem with these choices.
Yeah.
All right, so you want to hit the Metro? I have. Yeah. This one is a little rough in my opinion. So there's Teuvo Teravainen, Nick Foligno, Kyle
Foligno.
Palmieri for whatever.
Oh wow, you're gonna get mad that I corrected you
Yeah.
on pronunciation. Ooh.
So then you have Anders Lee, Mats Zuccarello,
Oh god. We'll get to that in a
Jacob
second.
Voracek, Backstrom, and Letang.
Mhm. Alright,
Let's
so
let's
let's
just get
start-
Mats Zuccarello out of here
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, let's talk tiers here. We're gonna run a 3-tier system. Matt Zuccarello's tier 5. Like-
I mean, even Shea Weber's like tier 4.
Holy
So
crap, Shea Weber has more goals as a defenseman in 16 games. Matt Zuccarello has 4 goals and 10 assists. That's like 2 weeks for like a star player.
so like
Absolutely not. Should not be on the list at all.
just get him out of there. Like, seriously. As soon as I saw this list, I was like, what is Matt Zuccarello doing?
It really leaves a lot to like. Well, look at if you thought that there's any debate for who was in the Metro lineup as it was. If you look at the fan vote, you're like, okay, now I get it. Now I see why it is what it is. I mean, Nick Foligno, 20 points. Well, we're really stargazing here.
Yeah, but I mean, the Blue Jackets already have 2 players in. So
I get that, and I get that they had to put someone on the fan vote, but 20 points is not good enough.
It's better than Matt Zuccarello.
Yeah, but one team's intentionally trying to lose here.
Aside from their goaltender.
Well, yeah.
Aside from
Wink,
that, like,
wink, nudge, nudge.
Palmieri, he's been a really, really big part of the Devils. Like, so fan vote, sure. I think he could replace Hall, I guess, if Hall is out.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. I'd have they're pretty close in production at this point, so I wouldn't mind either of them being the Devils' representative.
Mm-hmm. Backstrom. Honestly, I'm surprised that Backstrom didn't make it. It wasn't like a replacement for Ovechkin, but
they so I think that's why they chose Atkinson, right? Yeah,
I guess.
We'll
I don't know. It was weird because the Capitals are the first place team and have a sole representative.
no, they have 2, Carlson and Holtby.
Oh, that's right. I don't think about goaltenders. It's an all-star game.
But again, remember, tiers of goaltenders, 1 and 3.
Right. And Bobrovsky.
Which is right now on 3.
Yeah.
Aside from that, like, Teravainen, I feel like just take Zuccarello and Foligno out, and
then it's like it's more realistic.
right.
Yeah, I'd love to see Letang make it, but I don't.
I
mean, 35 points is nothing to sneeze at for a defenseman, and his style of play fits an all-star game better.
Yeah.
But it's
But to be fair, I would like to see some of the younger defensemen on the ballot because, like, you don't really get to see their offensive sides much, and like a lot of the younger defensemen have really good skating and they're really cool to watch in an open ice.
Was John Scott not enough for you? You mean to tell me a 35-year-old defenseman wasn't young and fresh enough for you? 3 years ago in Nashville, it wasn't good enough that he had like 1 goal and assist.
Yeah.
There's just no pleasing you. I don't.
Anyway, so yeah, takeaway of like if anybody's voting for Foligno and Zuccarello, get out of here.
Yeah, this is we're just gonna disregard the whole Columbus, Ohio region.
All right. Anyway,
And in New York, I mean, well, we can't discount New York. New York's too big to like cancel out our audience there. There's too much potential there.
Hello, like I'm near there.
Shh, they don't need to know. Someone's gonna put out a hit out on you. New York's already crazy enough as is.
Anyway, so let's get to the Pacific and Central, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for Central, here's where Taze comes in. Then you have Landeskog, Sagan, Parise, Forsberg, Tarasenko, and Line A.
Yeah.
This list is not like the previous two lists that we saw, where
Yeah, one of these things is not like the other.
So all of them could totally be in the All-Star
game.
game.
This one's not crap.
And I'm fine with it.
Well, except for Tarasenko. Tarasenko's pretty damn... Forsberg's not great either.
Yeah, they're both mid... Like, they're both, what, 30 or so? In the...
22.
Huh?
22 points apiece.
Okay. Yeah, but, again,
not great.
This is also...
I mean, for the Blues, that might be, like, number 2 on the list.
Basically. And then... I mean, Nashville's more a defensive team anyway. They don't have high scoring.
Yeah.
So I have no problem with Forsberg being on that list.
Oh yeah, I don't either.
Yeah.
Did he ever return from IR? It's still 2017 finals, right? Like, he's not back in the lineup
yet. Yeah, but anyway, so like with these, I think the vote actually all of them are pretty good. So we'll see how that goes. And no defenseman in this list, first time. So yeah. Pacific Division. So in the Pacific Division we have Getzlaf, Draisaitl, Kopitar, Couture, Besser, Marchessault, Ekman Larson, and Giordano. So this list has 2 defensemen. The Atlantic list also had 2 defensemen, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There was another one that had 2 defensemen.
Yeah, Atlantic. Atlantic had Morgan Riley and Shea Weber in the fan vote.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. I don't know how I feel about Getzlaf being there, but then again, who are they gonna put?
Getzlaf is like the ultimate, like, I feel like that does. Look, I'm not gonna bald shame him, or not bald shame him. Like not using of a facial visor.
Uh-huh.
But for a center, it just screams like I'm not here to be offensively productive. And for me, that's enough to be like, you know what, your game plan is just it just doesn't fit an all-star.
Also, again, the Sharks have a possibility of getting a 4th player in Logan Couture. What do you think?
No.
No?
We've already gone through this. I don't fucking want 4 damn Sharks players in there. You already have the game in your city. You have 17,000 people. Is that not enough?
Also, what do you think about a defenseman winning the fan vote in that division? Because they're the only one with 3.
Listen, I will vote for Giordano just because it sounds like a chef's name. I think that would be hilarious. And if he scores like 4 goals, all of a sudden he can be the pizza man for all I care. I think it would be great for the league. It would go viral. It would make the game so much more interesting for like a day.
They'd have 4 defensemen in a freaking 3-on-3 tournament.
Great. Look, it's like you like shirts versus skins. They'll be the defensive team, and everybody else throw their forwards at them. Let's see who wins. Backs against the wall. Let's go.
All right. Yeah. Otherwise, like Marchessault, sure, he can be there. Besser, I was saying flip him between Pettersson, and I figured they would be flip-flop. One of them would have the spot. One of them would be fan vote.
Ever since the Sedins stopped being perennial all-stars, the Canucks just send a different guy every year.
No, but Besser... okay, so Besser is looking really good this year, because he's the 2nd year in the league, I think.
Well, who'd they send last year?
Not sure, but...
or no, maybe I'm thinking 2 years ago, but...
Yeah, I mean,
was it,
they probably sent one of the Sedins. For like...
No, it was somebody else. It was a young guy.
I don't know.
Hold on, let me do stats department.
Anyway, I'll go through the rest of the list.
Yeah, you do that while I check.
So Ekman Larson, yeah, I think he deserves to be there. Kopitar, I'm not really sure. Draisaitl, I mean, I really don't think you should have another Edmonton player in this damn game. So, what do you think?
I'm still doing stats over here.
No, but what do you think about the
Bo
possibility?
Horvat.
Oh yeah, he's good though too. They're the young players though. I mean, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. They're retooling or whatever the heck the new word is for it.
Building. Sure. Anyway, you were saying though.
I don't want to see another Edmonton player, so please don't let Draisaitl win the fan vote.
It's a shame because, like, if you look at this list, it's Draisaitl versus the field.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like, yeah, I get. You can't reward bad team play like that.
Right. And, I mean, I really would have liked to see Ekman Larson actually on the team, even though I doubt he's going to win.
Yeah.
I doubt he's going to win because that's the fourth defenseman.
Yeah. It would have been nice for him to be on a hockey team, instead of on the Coyotes.
And then, like, I think Besser has a shot. Again, Besser, Horvat, and Pettersson are basically like the future of the Canucks.
All right, so I'll give you tier 1, unfortunately for you, Draisaitl and Couture. Because not only is it like, yeah, he's second in points on the list, but it's because of the San Jose, home field advantage.
I agree with that wholeheartedly.
I'll put Ekman Larson and let's go Marchessault, second tier, and we'll put Brock Besser too.
Okay.
And Kopitar,
Getzlaf, and Giordano.
Yeah, as number 3. I think that Giordano, 38 points for a defenseman is nothing to sneeze at, but
that's pretty damn good.
And like I said, it would be fun as hell to just it's a chef's name, but I just don't know that Calgary can get represented that well.
Also, I really think defensemen on this list are at a disadvantage.
Yeah, I mean, on any of these All-Star lists.
No, but I mean, the other teams, like, having a third defenseman is not unheard of.
Yeah, no, you're right.
But having a fourth one in a game where you basically play 3 lines doesn't really make sense.
Yeah. Let's write Bettman a letter. Like, I want to see 3 versus D. No, how about this? They can run through 4 forwards, and the other team gets to run 5D and a goaltender. like it's a power play, but only defensemen.
Oh God!
I think it would be hilarious.
Yeah, but they're not going to win a face-off. Their slap shots will be tough.
Like, there's going to be face-offs in that All-Star game. There's not even passes.
Their slap shots are going to be tough.
Yeah, exactly. See? And then Shea Weber would belong.
Oh, my.
You can't argue against this logic. It's too good.
That would be a fun, gimmick at an all-star event.
Yeah. Or, the next time they do, a holdout. Just for charity, for a goof.
That'd be great.
Raise, funds for a hurricane. Let's go D versus me or D versus forward matchup, and let's just have a ball.
Yeah.
Everybody wins, raise some money for the kids or whatever.
Yep. All right, yeah, so next week, look forward to our brackets. We'll just pit these guys against each other.
Yeah. Last one survives.
Yep. All right, so time for the NFL playoffs.
This has been a fun episode.
Yeah, I like it.
This is going to be great. We should get into stuff like this more often. This has been a more passionate episode than we've ever done.
Yeah. It's been great. Yeah, but let's start with the NFC, right? So New Orleans has number 1 seed bye, and Los Angeles Rams have the second.
Yeah.
And your matchups.
Fun fact before we start. And this is a really stupid fun fact, but my simple brain captured this for a second. And simple brain later in the afternoon, not when I was like, working and was actually doing. Anyway, see, this is why simple brain gets distracted easily. But both teams that have buys in both the NFC and AFC are 2-word cities.
Mm-hmm.
New England, Los Angeles, and New Orleans.
Yep.
And Kansas City.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but so let's get to the matchups, though, because those are actually going to go on. They're not sitting on the sideline. So
we have a geography lesson.
For 3 versus 6, though, we have Chicago and Philadelphia. A little surprising for me, as one of those teams is from the East.
No, what's surprising is that oh shoot, my graphic changed. I was not supposed to have Dallas in green. Anyway.
So and then
two
the 4
of these
versus
teams
5
in the 4. 2 of these 4 teams are in the NFC East. We made a goddamn commitment
that
to the
only
fact that
one
only
team would
one
make
team
it.
was going to make it East, and 2 snuck in. I want a recount.
This literally should not have happened. I don't know how.
No, it should not have. That goddamn Nick Foles is taking steroids or something. He probably like came over the shoulder of Carson Wentz with a sledgehammer. It was just like, you know what, this is mine now.
Anyway, so what do you think about the 3 versus 6 though? Do you think Philly has a shot?
No, not a chance.
I don't think so either.
I think that Chicago is still too underrated.
Yeah, I just think they're the better team by a long shot. And what about Dallas, Seattle? I give the edge to Dallas, even though I hate. I just don't think Seattle's been playing that terribly well.
Let's see. Okay, but the thing is Dallas almost lost to the Giants. Like, if it wasn't for a miraculous Cole
2-point
Beasley,
conversion,
they would have lost. And like that was on a 4th down. They really. It's Russell Wilson and Dak Prescott. They're just 2 very different quarterbacks in terms of skill level. So I would rather go with Russell Wilson, who makes the plays happen, over Dak Prescott, who kind of still can't.
But also, I mean, they were playing without Elliott and stuff, so
I don't care.
I mean,
I really don't.
I think this matchup is definitely a lot closer, but I give the edge to Dallas. You give it to Seattle. All right, we'll see.
Okay, I will. I'm gonna die on this hill. Probably not my best stance, because I think that Philadelphia's got a better chance of a game than Dallas does. If we're talking NFC East teams, I think that Philadelphia is on a hot streak. Dallas is kind of like,
but I think
they've won a lot, but I think they've still kind of played down too much.
All right, but okay, so I'll give you that, but I think Chicago is just on a completely different level than Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how good Philly's been playing, I just don't think it comes close to Chicago's level.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm taking Chicago to maybe even go to the Super Bowl. Not sure. But yeah, I'm sticking with I'm going home and away. I'm going Seattle, and I'm going Chicago.
Yeah, so I'm going Dallas and Chicago. So mine's home and home.
Okay.
All right, so AFC, right? As we mentioned before, Kansas City and New England are the buys. Kansas City with number 1.
I absolutely hate the fact that the NFL let the Patriots play a cupcake Jets team for a chance to clinch a bye. Like, oh, I don't know if the Patriots are going to make it. They're not going to get the number 1 seed, but now they have to play in Week 17 for a shot at a bye. It's like, come on, you gave them the Jets.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, the Jets are in their division. You could have technically said that about the Dolphins, but they lost to them.
Yeah, but the Dolphins...
And then the Bills?
In Week 17, the Dolphins would have had nothing either.
Yeah, but I mean, the Bills are also in that division.
Yeah, but I mean, the Bills can win a game against the Patriots in Buffalo, but not in New England.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. All right. So the 6-3 on this side of the bracket is Houston and Indianapolis,
Mm-hmm.
and then the 4-5 is Baltimore and Los Angeles. I gotta
This is tough.
say,
This is tough.
talking about Houston, Indianapolis first, I think that's a hell of a close game. More so than Boston
also
and Los
because
Angeles.
it's division opponents.
Baltimore and Los Angeles.
It's division opponents too.
Yeah.
This is tough because Indianapolis has just been so hot, but the Texans started bad and
Yeah, they've
hot
been
in the
hot
second
too.
half in their own right.
Yeah, but I think
boy. Oh God, it's just for me. It's like defense wins championships. I got to go Houston because Indianapolis, while they've had a better defense in the second half, they still don't have they have defensive players, but they don't have a defensive unit.
all right. I mean, I'm gonna pick Houston. I'm gonna pick Houston having a slight edge. I think the game will be close, but I do think Houston will come out on top, especially their home. But as for Baltimore and Los Angeles, I'm giving it to Los Angeles.
Oh yeah, I'd give it to Los Angeles too, just because Baltimore did still have to play until the last week. Plus, I hate Baltimore.
We know.
Well, I don't hate. I respect Baltimore, whereas a lot of other Steelers fans probably wouldn't respect Baltimore. We just straight despise. I don't make the Ray Lewis jokes about how he murdered someone. It's there's a level of calmness to my hate. But I mean, the Chargers could have had the 1 seed.
Barely.
The fact that they're 5. And plus, these two teams have played each other. I think the Chargers have enough there to make the adjustment.
Yeah, I just think they're so much better. And Baltimore, they've been playing all I think the last week LA rested some guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Baltimore's been playing.
No, they didn't.
They didn't?
Because why would they? If they had a chance
first
at the
seed.
1 seed.
Yeah, no chance at the 1 seed, but the Chiefs won, so it didn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I still think that they are the better team. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Aside from that, so I have away and home. You have what?
I'm going LA and Houston.
So you have away and home also.
Yeah. I mean, you can't get me to choose Baltimore. If you want me to go, if you want to go let's see who has the better one, fine, I'll go Indianapolis. But I'm not going to Baltimore. I just can't do it. Yeah. I have too much pride.
Yeah, and so at the beginning of the season, I don't know if you remember, close to the beginning of the season, I said my Super Bowl prediction was New Orleans and Kansas City, and I'm going to stick with that.
You said New Orleans and Kansas City?
Yeah. What do you got? I'm going to stick with mine from week 4.
I got the Rams. Shout out Nick, my California-based roommate. And I will go. If the Chargers can take a run at it, then I like them. But otherwise, I feel
dude,
I feel like Kansas City loses to New England again. I don't know why. I just feel like you look at the logos and you're like, one of these teams always wins, and it's not Kansas City.
Yeah, okay.
I'll say this. If Houston got in a position where they could knock out New England and just take them out of the picture, then I like a team like Kansas City or the Chargers.
But so if Houston wins their game, they play New England automatically.
Right. But I think that if they made the conference championship game, that would be a hell of a season for the Texans. Obviously, they would want more, but they've never gotten that far.
Mm-hmm. All right. So you have LA Rams and the Patriots? Which one? What did your AFC team end up being?
I'm going to go with Rams and Chargers.
All right, so we'll see. Will
Phillip
my
Rivers.
Week 4 prediction hold up, or will your new one reign
Hey,
supreme?
I had a perfect opening round in the March Madness tournament in 2009. I have the upper hand.
How does that
So-
mean anything?
I've picked winners before.
Yeah, to the round of 32.
Hey, there's more games in the round of 64.
Yeah. All right, well, that's all we have for today. So, I think it was a pretty fun episode for the both of us. We hope you enjoyed, and catch you next time.
Yeah.